the Youngling Slayer 3000, the lightsaber of the Chosen One himself, Anakin Skywalker. This is the weapon of a Jedi warrior for a more civilized time. But are these lightsabers civilized? Come with me to check it out because I'm about to compare StarForged Saberworks lightsaber from Sabers, SkyGuy, versus the Saber from the Saber Company by LGT. And you're in for a surprise. Hey nerds, welcome back to the Fellowship of the Nerds, Megavan, and I am your host as always, Luke Skywalker. And today we have a really cool, we're going to be doing a comparison and a review of the lightsaber of Ahsoka Tano's master, Anakin Skywalker. We're going to be checking out the lightsaber of the Chosen One. And this time around, we're going to be checking out this beauty from Sabers. And this thing is really, really impressive. But it wouldn't be fair if we didn't really check it out to see if it was worth it. And we're going to be comparing to the one that we had up until like the last video that you would have seen right there on the wall with all the rest of the Skywalker lightsabers. We're going to be checking it out against the Saber Company's LGT version. I think theirs is called the Saber. And I'm going to show you really the good, the bad, and the really ugly. Stick with me because you're going to be seeing a lot of surprises on this one. Plus, I'm going to be showing you an exclusive Soundfont that we've created here at the Fellowship of the Nerds. So let's unbox this first of all, because this has a lot of fun. This is going to have a little bit of DIY, so you're not going to want to miss this. And hey, while you're here, remember to subscribe if you're new to the channel. Just hit the button, do all the things that everybody says on this, because you don't want to miss these things. So without further ado, let's open this one up. Okay, so StarForged Saberworks sends their lightsabers. If you're getting the Elf, and you will see that they do have an Elf collection on their website, and this is an Sabers lightsaber, and this SkyGuy comes like this, so you have to put it together, which I think is amazing. And inside the box, you're going to get your Allen key, you're going to get your charger, you're going to get instructions, but you are going to get all the things to pretty much do it yourself. So let's do that now. And the first thing I'm going to do in order to do that is I'm going to take off the chassis, also because I want to show you the chassis, because I know this chassis and this chassis is amazing. You have to simply move it a little bit, and here you go. And look at this thing. It says here in Aurebesh, Anakin Skywalker. That is a ridiculously cool, super awesome detail that I think Sabers has done amazing with. Besides of that, and let me put back the pommel cap, and this is how you access the chassis, by the way. You just unscrew this and then screw it back in. You don't have to unscrew the entire lower part of the lightsaber like you do on the other. And the retention screw, look at this. Even though this would look like it's a retention screw, it's actually this. And this, so you see this, it's essentially an amazing blade plug for this lightsaber. And this is pretty much in line with the Sabers design that we've seen in Corvan's episode 2 Anakin, where there was no actual retention screw. It was just, you know, the little part on the side, and the blade plug was unique to the Saber. I think this thing is fantastic, guys. I genuinely think this is, already you can tell it's a piece of art. It has the same fault as all the Anakin Skywalker lightsabers, which is their fingerprint magnets. So as I'm holding this, I'm already going like, oh my god. But other than that, but that's not a fault of the lightsaber or of StarForged. This is just, they all are like this. So in order for you to do this properly, you're gonna have to put all 6 of these all around. And I think the cool thing is that you have this, so you kind of know where they have to fit, so you don't have to be like making up and kind of figuring out where they should go, which I think is cool. And then we're gonna have to put this, which is the plaque of the control board. So I'm gonna do that first, actually, because I think that's gonna be the easiest thing and the most straightforward thing. we're gonna take it out of the packaging, and this will have, yep, there you go. And then this. And because they align the same, it really doesn't matter which side you put them on. If you put them one way or the other, so there is that. Not like slide it, because you don't need to slide it, but like, you know, you have to ensure that it's within the margin. So like sort of slide it, if you will. And then you're gonna press, and because we remove the chest, there's no risk that you're doing anything that would trigger anything on the programming of the lightsaber. So there you go, that's it. Now, let's go ahead with this, and what we're gonna do first is we're gonna remove this, so you can have, because the issue is that you're gonna have to put this and then put your vertex in. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, I'm stopping here, the fast forward edition, if you will, just to show you this. So these will go into here. So it's a very, very like obvious visual guide, so you know exactly where you're putting your parts, and that way you don't have to be guessing as to, you know, height, or if they're straight or if they're not straight or whatever. If it's gone into the little thing, then essentially you have put them as they should. And there we go, see? And that way they are all perfectly secure. They're all symmetrical, and they're all, you know, they're all the way that they should be. And then you just simply screw this back on. And that's it. Put your chassis back in. I'm not going to turn it on because I want to reserve that for later, but essentially you'll activate your kill switch. You screw this and you're done. Now let me show you a side by side with the Saber company's lightsaber, just so you can see them side by side, and then we're going to weight them as well, just so you can see what's the difference in weight on these two. Okay, before we weight them, here they are side by side. You can see that this very subtle differences. For example, the finish of the buttons are just not 100. I'm not entirely sure if this is getting captured on camera, but they're not 100%. Well, like the L Sabers look more, they look better. That's just like they're painted differently, and you can see it here as well. And then on the control box that we just put together, this one has like ridges where this one doesn't. But this can feel very, very unsettling as you're using your Saber. I can tell you that right now, where this one feels smooth, feels perfect. The funny thing is that this, one of my very, like many grievances with the Saber company's lightsaber, is that this initially, before I got this modified, this just slide, it wouldn't stay in. Now it does, but it's because it's been modified, so it's that. And let's see, the bottom looks almost identical, funny enough. Like that sense is that, but you can see, you know, color and stuff, they're not exactly the same. Now the circumference of this, I measure, and they're 11 centimeters around, so both of them, so they're exactly the same width, but as you're about to see, they're not the same weight. Now let's bring in here our scale, and we're gonna put, this is Saber Companies, and this is 519 grams, where the Sabers from StarForged is 852 grams, so 300 grams more. And you're gonna say, wait, how could it be better if it's heavier? Well, a couple of reasons why that's a good thing. Number one, the StarForged lightsaber is heavier because the chassis, you've seen the chassis, where the chassis of this thing is just your standard LGT Nexus. Really, I'm not going to use this slur here, but you can imagine what I'm thinking of. Really basic plastic saber, plastic core, sorry. This is absolutely nothing to write home about. So this is going to be very light, but yeah, because this is going to, in itself, is going to be very light. But even if you were comparing this finish, where this feels more, even though they're exactly the same circumference, this feels more solid. This feels more premium. This feels more plasticky. So there is that. Also, I will take note here that this blade plug does not come with the Saber Company's lightsaber. It's a blade plug that I had to buy because, well, I'm about to show you all in detail about this saber, but like out of the box, this saber was not up to spec. So let me just walk you through that now. But also, absolute kudos to StarForged sending you the cell saber like this, because once you get it, the fact that you're putting these bits together is, in my mind, it's like you're sort of building, quote unquote, the lightsaber. It's you know, you're giving it your craftsmanship. It's not like, oh, I got out of the box and boom, there you go. It's like the fact that you're putting it together a little bit, I think is a nice thing. This is already, I can tell you, this is already a cool lightsaber. But let's break it down even more. Let's have a look at them more in detail so you can see the differences and why StarForged takes the lead on this already. And here it is, guys. Look at this beautiful weapon. Look at this beautiful lightsaber. Look, regardless of the history of the Youngling Slayer 3000, it's a really beautiful weapon. I mean, look at the craftsmanship of this, even on the blade plug and everything. It's truly, truly magnificent. I love the fact that this comes sort of as a, you know, DIY for you to like put together with the strips and stuff. I think it's a neat thing that you have that, because it's really, as you saw in the unboxing, it's not really complicated, but it builds into the illusion of, like, you know, you're making the lightsaber your own. And speaking of making your lightsaber your own, StarForged Saberworks will work with you in making your lightsaber your own in terms of configuration. So usually they'll include KSith Soundfonts on these lightsabers. It doesn't matter if you're getting an L saber or the TXQ, because they're mostly they sell TXQ sabers. But no matter which one you're getting, they will include KSith Soundfonts. But you can, you know, work with them to essentially say, like, hey, you know, I want my lightsaber to have this configuration. We'll start with this font, or to, you know, have this type of blade effect of that, or whatever. They'll work with you in that sense. So I think it's very cool whenever you have a company that's, you know, ready and willing to give the customization that you want. That's absolutely cool. But this is the L Sabers, like I was saying, and you would recall that we saw L Sabers Anakin Skywalker Episode 2 lightsaber that we got from Corband, and I'm gonna bring it up here because there's a lot of similarities between these two, and I'm gonna start with the most obvious, the blade plugs, and not necessarily the blade plugs look alike, because they don't, but it's the fact that these things don't have a retention screw. So the blade plug, you know, you just basically, boom, that's it. You get it from there, and then when you want to put it back, you just, you know, look up where the thing goes, because it has like a little piece here. That's it. You don't need to be worried about having tools or anything like that. And then to turn it on, you just remove this, the cap, the chassis comes off, you turn it on, and that's really it. I think that's pretty cool. It's also a heavy saber, as you recall from the review of this. But it is a really solid, amazing saber, and the quality of it is top notch. Because obviously, being Corbin, you wouldn't expect any less. So, what are the similarities between this? Well, very simple. The Youngling Slayer 3000 also has this as a retention screw. Instead of having anything, and then you remove your blade plug.
I know.
Yeah, I know too. That wasn't what's supposed to happen. And even though it has, you know, the screw, like it does, so it's screen accurate, but like this is not the screw for you to retain your blade. It's this. I think that's really, really cool. Same thing with the pommel cap. So like the pommel cap, you remove it and the chassis will light out. I think it's fantastic, guys. And you can tell that Elf really wanted to go for a very similar thing when it comes to Anakin. So like that's absolutely cool. Now, as you would have seen in the side-by-side and the unboxing, it is very different, like, but at the same time very similar. So you will see the differences here on the control box. You cannot tell on the video, unfortunately, but like this is extremely glossy, where this is more brush, which I think is very, very nice, because like it does give you a different feeling when you're holding this in your hands. There's the differences of the buttons, which again, I'm not entirely sure if you're going to be able to capture the finish, but like the finish on the SkyGuy from StarForged is like, it's more like anodized or something, but it just looks nicer. This just looks like plain paint on you know, in real life. And of course, the differences of the blade plug. So like the blade plug from this, it's not only big difference, and my big first grievance with the Saber companies, this is not the blade plug that this thing brought. This brought one of those generic THQ type of blade plugs that are just an antenna. It was horrible. It looked terrible on this lightsaber, and I don't know why it came like that. I don't know why it didn't have, because you know, there's a bazillion places where they sell the blade plug, you know, a replica of the blade plug for this lightsaber, and yet it came with such a terrible blade plug. So that's my first grievance with this, but I will get to more grievances as we go along the video. I will say this though, this, because it's so deep, whenever you put in the blade plug, you're not gonna be able to just go, oh yeah, I'll just leave it, you know, let it drop, and no, because if you let it drop, gonna go all the way down there and you're not gonna be able to screw anything. You're gonna have to measure it there, and then of course it's just fine. You're starting to feel what my grievances are with this lightsaber, I think, don't you? There, and it holds there. So, you know, there's that. This lightsaber, to access the core, you'd have to unscrew all of it instead of just the pommel cap, and then you'll reveal your LGT, your standard LGT plastic horrible core. But here's the funny thing, this is a core that's supposed to come off. Right now it's fixed to the Saber and it won't move from there. Why? Well, I'm glad you asked. This Saber, when I got it from the Saber company last year, this is right before they changed their names from you know, Saber Theory to the Saber company. This lightsaber, to begin with, it closed like this. So your control box was aligned to the adapter. So this thing was a nightmare to hold. That's one thing. It was only one button. Even though this worked, and this, you could feel that this was a button that you could press.
We'll have to work fast.
You know, and it would activate. No, it wouldn't activate. Like it was dead. Your button was here, and this wasn't even fixed. This thing just gets sliding up and down. It will, you know, do micro cuts and everything. It was horrible. It didn't have an Anakin Skywalker Soundfont, which I thought was unforgivable, because, you know, it's not like there wouldn't be Soundfonts of Anakin. It was so horrifically basic. I was so disappointed with what I got. Then I sent it over to our friends at SaberSense, and they, you know, they added one of these little things. And just by adding that, then it generated an extra groove. And then whenever you close it now, whenever you screw it, see, the thing stays on the opposite side, so you can hold it like this without issues. They enable this button. They took all of this thing apart and they rewired everything so I would have a 2-button configuration. The downside to that was that they had to fix the core inside. So that means that I can never take off the battery to, charge it if I just want to change the battery. I always have to charge it, connecting the lightsaber, which means I always have to be mindful of using a 5-volt 1 amp charger because I don't want to blow this. You have that. You have the thing of the blade plug that I mentioned. I already mentioned in the unboxing that this is lighter, but this is way more plastic and more of a cheap finish. All around, I was so disappointed. I'm happy with it now in the sense that I got it now where I want it to be, thanks to SaberSense. But, as it was out of the box compared to how you're going to see the elf sabers from StarForged SaberWorks it's like if they were from 2 different planets, if you will. They're entirely different. And in that sense, even though the Saber company is a very well-known company, and I really don't have an axe to grind here with them, but in this, they truly dropped the ball. Now, I've seen on their website now that they sell this, and funny enough, I'm not seeing a Proffie version on their website. I only see Xeno and NeoPixel. And of course, like, if you would remember the video that I did about the comparison of all the types of different lightsabers, I would always recommend more NeoPixel than Xeno because I think the app is superior. But is that it? They don't even sell you a Proffie. And the price of it, if you take into account the discount that I will talk to you about later on the video from StarForged, it's actually more expensive. That is incredibly lousy, to use a polite word, by the Saber company. So I know that they will have other lightsabers. I think that they've improved that version because I think from what I've seen in pictures, their version now, the adapter is not on the front. So hopefully they have changed a little bit in that regard. But I was truly shocked and truly disappointed when I got this, because it was the first lightsaber that I got that was like, oh, from a big store. And remember getting the box and opening it, oh, the logo and everything. And then you got what I got, and I was, holy God, what is this? So I don't know if that's been your experience. I would love to hear your experience if you have had the Anakin Skywalker lightsaber from the Saber company, just to hear, what the differences might have been from yours to mine. But the experience from what I got this lightsaber last summer are really shocking. Having said all of that, let's move on to our review of the day, which is the StarForged SaberWorks Elf Sabers Anakin Skywalker, and they call this the SkyGuy. And like I said at the start, like, they will configure this in any way that you want it. So this has a bunch of KSith Soundfonts in essentially in sequential order. So this lightsaber will start, in my case, the way I configure it, with the Clone Wars Soundfont that I created for this character, because I only found that there was like 1 or 2 Soundfonts out there, and I really didn't quite like them, so I decided to make my own. And it starts with that, and then it has a progression of Anakin. So the next font will be Episode 3 and variants of Episode 3. So like the beginning, when he falls, the fight with Obi-Wan. Then it goes over to the Ahsoka Soundfonts, on both the light version and the dark version that KSith had done. You would remember when I did this one back in the day. Like, I thought that Soundfont was amazing, and because they work with KSith, then you'll be able to get this, and I think it's absolutely cool. But it follows that progression, and that's the cool thing about StarForged SaberWorks. I was able to work with them and tell them exactly how I wanted it, and I was like, yep, that's absolutely no problem. And we put it all together, and it was fantastic. So in that sense, a 10 as for the store, because you get exactly what you want right out of the box. That's you can, like, that's the sort of things that I love, for example, from Korban, right? Like a store that's so well established that they will go through making sure that when you get your lightsaber out of the box, you are gonna get a truly magnificent lightsaber. So there's that. Now, having said all of that, let's put a blade on this. I'm going to take it outside. I'm going to show you, I'm going to walk you through all the sound fonts, including the one that I created. And then we're going to bring it back inside. I'm going to show you the difference of this with a blade in comparison to the Saber company. and we're going to go through the ratings, and I'm going to tell you what I think and which one not only should take the crown, but also which one should take your money, because that's really the important thing here. So let's put a blade on this and show you how it looks like in the dark.
Anakin Skywalker is sent to the rescue. I know. Anakin Skywalker. General Grievous. You're shorter than I expected.
Master Skywalker, there are too many of them. What are we going to do?
Do what must be done, Lord Vader. Do not hesitate. Show no mercy.
You will try.
You underestimate my power.
I'm here to finish your training. There's hope for you yet.
You lack conviction.
I've heard that before.
Well, I hope that you like that, because those fonts are amazing. The lightsaber handle is so beautiful. It lights up right. It feels right. It's really it's astonishing, guys. It's really cool. Like it is. When we go to our ratings, you're gonna see what I really think of this. But like I'm really impressed by this lightsaber. Now, obviously, we're gonna compare them, and I just wanna like literally do you a like for like. So I'm gonna show on the Clone Wars Soundfont that I created for this.
Anakin Skywalker is sent to the rescue.
There he is, sir. We'll have to work fast.
Now, I think that you can already tell, even with all this light, you can already tell. Like the Sabers, it's just like it's and I'm using similar blades, so it's not like, oh well, you know, I'm using an ultra bright blade on it. No, I'm using the same type of blades. They both take 7/8 of an inch blades, by the way. But I mean, you can easily tell. You know, there's really no comparison. This will look a little bit different because of, you know, all the stuff that Sabers did. So you'll see, you know, that the blaster reflex look red, that, you know, it'll do the lockup by just long pressing this, where this you'll have to press and clash it. But, you know, these were white, where these are like reddish.
Bravo, Anakin. You've done it again.
But even on the volume, on the sound, right? Like
There he is, sir. We'll have to work fast.
there's that.
I understand my responsibilities. Hope you're not waiting on me. I know.
This one is quieter, and this has been worked on by Sabers. So imagine how it sounded like when I initially got it. When it comes to comparison, look, I can only think of one thing with these two. Clearly, the StarForged Saberworks wins, hands down, when it comes to comparison. But is it really a great lightsaber for you to buy? Well, let's do the ratings now. I'm going to start my ratings with, I think, the weakest part of this, which will be ergonomics. Why do I think it's the weakest? Well, it is heavy. Well, it's heavier than the other one. But on the other hand, the other one feels incredibly cheap, incredibly plasticky. So there's also part of the reason why that feels heavier. But the weight gives it a really nice... You know, absolutely not a problem.
We've done it again.
So it's not that. The grip of this actually feels better. Like these rubber bits that we installed, they do feel better than the other ones. So why is this the weakest one? Well, just for one basic reason, and it's the reason that all Anakin Skywalker's lightsabers have this flaw in my mind for ergonomics: the control box. The control box made these lightsabers to have a bit of a curse when it comes to handling, because, you know, it gets in the way. Having said that, you're not going to be able to appreciate this on camera, I think. But these edges are like smoothed and sort of even, I would say, like rounded up, where the ones from the Saber company are very, very sharp. So even at that, it will be better than the other one. So what would I give this on ergonomics? I will give this a 9. I cannot give it a 10 because of the control block. That's not a fault of the design of the Saber. It is how it's supposed to be. But it's going to be the weakest part. In terms of design, it's going to get a 10 for many reasons. The fact that the Saber company one, because it was a one button, you would have just operated all here. But once we established the 2 buttons, you had to, you know, move one and then the other. I think is the other one that Corbin has is Shadow Foil. These 2 are the buttons. That's fantastic. But the 89 Sabers version, for example, of this is also, you know, 1 button here, 1 button here. After having the other one for a while, I don't like it, because, you know, your hand instinctively is trying to do one thing. So, like, you know, it's expecting to do things with this. And then, oh yeah, hold on. And let me move my hands or my fingers here a little bit. So where if everything is in one place, doesn't matter if it's up here or down here, you're already like using the lightsaber with the expectation that you're going to be doing everything in the same place. So that it will already be a plus. The fact that this is the retention screw, I mean, hands down, that thing is amazing. The fact that this is a bit rounded up, again, it goes with ergonomics, but it goes with design, because obviously they had to design it this way so these corners wouldn't be sharp and they wouldn't be bothering you. So there's that. The fact that the pommel cap is exactly as the episode 2, so you only need to open this to remove the chassis. You've seen the chassis in the unboxing, the fact that it's engraved in Aurebesh, the name of Anakin Skywalker. So all around, the sign is obviously a 10. And when it comes to sound, another obvious, it's obviously also going to be a 10. Not only because I did the sound for the Clone Wars, but the fact that, you know, it's so loud, but like elegant loud. It's not like, you know, it's not deafening you, it's not sounding, you know, the speaker doesn't sound like it's gonna crack or anything like that. It's just exactly what you expect.
This is where the fun begins. Anakin Skywalker.
General Grievous, you're shorter than I expected.
Even the fact that I was able to like choose what music I wanted for each font, and, you know, personalize it in exactly the way that I wanted. Like that's really, really impressive. Like I cannot say anything bad about this, of course.
May the Force be with you.
General Grievous. shorter than I expected.
Like, guys, like, impressive. You heard all the samples outside, but I mean,
Darth Vader.
Master Skywalker, there are too many of them. What are we going to do?
I'm going there to end this war.
Do what must be
Like,
done. Lord
guys,
Vader.
seriously, like, this
Do not
is just
hesitate. Show no mercy.
impressive. Music, everything, you know?
Don't make me kill you. You will try. You thunder against me. You underestimate my power.
It's really, really impressive, guys.
Come on, Snips. The battle's not over yet. There are more separatist droids approaching. I'm here to finish your training. Ahsoka, within you will be everything I am. All the knowledge I possess. Just as I inherited knowledge from my master, and he from his. We're part of a legacy.
Guys, it's really, like,
There's hope for you yet.
I'm like, I want to try and show you all the rest of the samples, so I'm going to skip through the next one,
Live.
which is the dark side
Die.
version of the Ahsoka one.
The Force Unleashed too.
This one's really cool. Guys, look at this. This is amazing for Starkiller, that you'll be able to switch light and...
I'm not afraid.
Luke from episode 5,
Master Yoda.
obvious.
Shinhati.
General Kenobi.
Master Qui-Gon.
Padawan Ahsoka.
Ahsoka Tano.
Master Windu. Darth Sidious. Darth Sidious.
Lord Vader.
Kylo Ren. Darth Maul.
Anakin.
And that's we're back to, like, guys, like, all, and they're all KSith, they're fantastic. So, like, of course, sound is going to be another 10. So overall, where does that leave us? Well, that leaves us with this. It's a nearly perfect lightsaber. And really, the only flaw that it has is, I won't even blame the lightsaber itself. It's just the way that it is, because it has a control box, so, like, you can't do anything else. So is this a lightsaber that we recommend at the Fellowship of Nerds? Well, obviously, yes. Is this one that you should get? Obviously, yes. And if you want to get it, and this is what I was saying at the beginning, if you want to get it, you can get this with 15% off of its price using the discount code that you'll see here on the screen, using the Shire Walker discount code, and that's going to give you 15% off. If you add that discount code, you're paying for Proffie. This is amazing. Less money than what you would be paying for the the NeoPixel on the Saber company. Guys, I mean, I don't know how to spell it out to you, but, like, clearly it doesn't make any sense to buy this. This is the one for you to buy. So this is 100% recommended. This is the way, no pun intended, that you should go if you're buying an Anakin Skywalker lightsaber. There's not even a question of anything that you should do, because why would you? So nerds, that's been our review. I hope that you find that interesting. I hope that you find that useful. Get into the guys from the Saber company. I don't have an axe to grind against you guys, but I mean, in this comparison, there was only a clear winner, and it had to be StarForged Saberworks. It had to be the Sabers SkyGuy version, because it's really, really impressive. So remember that you can get it with 15% off. If you want, let me know in the comments which one would you pick and why. I really would like to hear, and I would really like to hear your experiences if you had this Anakin Skywalker Saber company lightsaber, just to see if it's same as me, and also to see when you got it, because, like I said, from the pictures I've seen that it's a bit different. So I'm very curious to see if it improved anything over time in the last year or not. But regardless if it did or not, this Sabers, this SkyGuy from StarForged Saberworks is the one to get, and I hope that you get it. Nerds, I've been your host as always, Luke Skywalker. Remember, the Force will be with you always. Remember to live long and prosper. May the odds be ever in your favor, Melanin. And until we meet again, mischief managed. I'll see you around, nerds.